My name is Ken Barone. I'm the Associate Director of the Institute for Municipal and Regional Policy at the University of Connecticut. We're also joined today by Chief Harold Medlock. Chief Medlock is the Chief of Police for the Fayetteville Police Department from 2013 through 2016. We're also joined by retired Police Sergeant Shafiq Abusabar. He was also a member of the Connecticut Police Transparency and Accountability Task Force. He's a retired law enforcement sergeant with over 21 years of community-based police training and experience. And lastly, we're joined by Claudine Constant. Claudine is the Public Policy and Advocacy Director for the American Civil Liberties Union of Connecticut. She was also a member of the subcommittee of the Connecticut Police Transparency and Accountability Task Force. So there are far more day-to-day interactions with law enforcement and the public that result in a traffic stop than most other interactions the public has. And the proposal that I'm about to highlight for you was really intended to try and address some violations that had the most significant racial and ethnic disparities: window tint violations, display of license plate violations, lighting violations, obstructed windshield violations, registration violations, issues with licensing, and other defective equipment. We really tried to go through the motor vehicle code with a scalpel, identify those violations disproportionately contributing to a significant racial disparity in Connecticut.
There was a disproportionate number of people of color being stopped for what I would call regulatory stops. There was a very low yield of contraband as a result of those searches. So the one thing that resulted from those searches and those traffic stops was it just made people mad. Folks didn't trust the Fayetteville Police Department. Data tells a great story, but the one thing I've always tried to remember is that behind every data point that you study is a person. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out, that we had a problem there. We brought in a leading researcher and college professor, university professor to train the entire department. That was everybody. That was everyone that wore uniform, everyone that served the public. Every one of us went through this training, and I told them what my plan was, and that was that we were not going to make stops for those laws or those violations, but we were going to make traffic stops for moving violations that kill people.
Motor vehicle stops have been in the United States of America the most single incendiary, racially explosive, social economic disaster between Black people and white people in this country.
The goal was really, if you introduce this system and you introduce a new way of doing traffic enforcement in a small way, and you slowly get, to your point, police leaders to realize, oh, maybe we really didn't need to do that. Life didn't change too much when they stopped doing some of the lighting violations, then maybe you can move towards more thoughtful, wholesale reimagining of the traffic safety system. The traffic code is still this thick. I have it on my desk.
Either you're coming along with us or we're going to leave you. So it does require, a lot of dedication, a lot of willingness to take some abuse to some degree and some criticism and just move forward with it.
I don't think it's just about training. I do think it's about how a person enters the field in the first place, how a person approaches their identity as a police officer.
So it could begin with fuzzy dice, but it could actually end with something totally different, where you got the DEA involved and you're waiting for the bomb dog to come out or the drug dog to come out, and this person's freedom has just been suspended. They're at your beck and will. You want a cop out of your space as fast as you can, because as long as we keep you there, the goal is to lock you up.
The ACLU has actually released a website called the Project Flashlight, which is starting to upload the municipal, city, and towns police contracts and various types of data so that people can be more informed about the decisions that are being made. Steps that everybody on this call are taking to kind of address what policing actually is as a functioning unit across the state kind of helps us get to that place of having those difficult conversations.
Modern day policing, every police officer on the street right now has been trained to be a war on drugs police officer. Every police chief in the United States of America is either an origin product or a mentee of the war on drugs of policing. So we need to reset the purpose of police from the commander-in-chief of President Biden at the White House all the way down to our smallest municipality in the country. There needs to be a new tone. Police officers are community engagement officers.